From the moment you awaken in the morning, the world begins its clamor. Men hurry from task to task as though salvation lay somewhere ahead of them. They believe that progress is found in movement, that success depends upon constant reaction, that stillness is weakness, a refusal to participate in life. But I tell you, the opposite is true. All motion you behold in this outer world is only a shadow play upon the screen of mind. Nothing truly moves except your attention. It is the movement of attention that gives birth to the illusion of change. The world of facts, though it seems alive, has no life in itself. It is animated only by the direction of consciousness, by where you choose to dwell within yourself. Look carefully, and you will see that the same pattern repeats again and again. Men hurry to gather riches and lose peace. They chase relationships and lose themselves. They pursue health and lose rest. For motion without awareness is not creation. It is confusion. I once too believed that to change my world, I must act, argue, defend, and strive. But life, in its mercy, taught me otherwise. I learned that nothing changes until I change the state from which I perceive. The world only reflects the rhythm of my inner movement. Do you not see that all your efforts are but ripples upon the surface of an unmoved sea? Beneath that restless motion lies a depth utterly still, the eternal I am. That is your true self. That is the center from which all motion proceeds and to which all motion returns. You may call it consciousness, God, imagination. The name is unimportant. What matters is that you learn to identify yourself not with the waves, but with the ocean itself. For as long as you believe yourself to be the waves, you will be tossed by every appearance, swayed by every circumstance, and frightened by every change. But when you recognize that the movement of the world is only the echo of your inner state, you will cease to fear. You will no longer react to appearances. You will stand still, not in passivity, but in dominion. Then you will understand the words of the psalmist. Be still and know that I am God. There is within you a silent point, a holy center, untouched by time or circumstance. You have perhaps felt it in fleeting moments, that strange stillness which remains even while the body moves and the mind races. It is the true self, the I am, the eternal awareness that observes all motion yet never moves. The world believes that stillness is the absence of power, but stillness is power itself. It is the throne of creation, the seat from which every law of manifestation is issued. When I speak of remaining unmoved, I do not mean indifference nor a frozen will. I speak of an inner poise, a quiet mastery that knows the difference between what is real and what only appears. When you identify yourself with the world of facts, you are forever tossed by its waves. You rejoice when things go well and despair when they turn against you. Your mood rises and falls with the winds of circumstance. But when you abide in the awareness of being, when you anchor yourself in the still center of I am, you rise above the storm. You become the calm from which the storm draws its motion. Every event, every person, every condition in your life is a moving shadow upon this stillness. If you could but see that nothing outside of you possesses any power, you would rest this very moment. You would cease struggling to make things happen and would instead know that all things happen through you. This quiet knowing is faith. Faith is not noise. Faith is silence that commands. The voice of faith does not argue with facts. It looks upon them and says within itself, I am greater than this appearance. And because consciousness is the only reality, the world must soon reflect that inner declaration. To remain unmoved, therefore, is not to suppress emotion or deny what you see. It is to behold appearances without surrendering your conviction. It is to rest in the awareness of being, the awareness that shapes worlds. When you dwell in this stillness, you begin to feel a sacred detachment from the drama of life. You move through the world of Caesar, yet your heart remains serene. You hear reports of lack, sickness, failure, yet within you there is only the steady pulse of I am. And in that state, even the smallest thought carries authority. Your assumption becomes decree. Your word becomes law. For creation is not born of striving, but of stability. The deeper the stillness, the greater the power that flows from it. When the world clamors for your reaction, withdraw into the quiet citadel of I am and stand firm. Do not speak hastily. Do not seek to defend yourself. Simply know that the truth of your being is unshaken, and soon you will witness a miracle that to the outer world will appear effortless. Situations dissolve, conflicts resolve, and paths open without struggle, all because you refuse to be moved. In the silence of that knowing, you have found the true throne of God within you. There comes a moment in every man's journey when nothing seems to happen. You have prayed, you have imagined, you have done all that the law requires. And yet the outer world stands still. No sign, no shift, no movement. It is in this silent interval that most turn back, doubting the very principle that could have set them free. But I tell you, this is not the absence of progress. It is the proof of your dominion. For when the world no longer provokes your reaction, when you can behold contradiction and remain inwardly calm, then the law knows its work is complete. Creation does not announce itself with trumpets. It appears quietly, like dawn breaking behind the hills. The silence between your assumption and its manifestation is the interval appointed by law. It is the stillness in which the invisible takes form. Many cannot bear that stillness. They rush to act, to question, to adjust the seed they have planted. They dig up their imaginal work to see if it has sprouted, and by doing so they kill it. But he who remains unmoved, who can dwell in peace though the senses report nothing, is the true creator. He trusts the unseen more than the visible. He knows that the moment of apparent inactivity is the very womb of fulfillment. Do you remember the words, "In patience possess ye your souls"? Patience is not waiting in despair. It is the serene assurance that the work is finished. It is Sabbath in motion, the invisible rest of faith. The one who doubts says, "But I see no change." The one who knows says, "It is done." And though the world may laugh, his quiet conviction moves the mountains of evidence, for the law is exact. What you have assumed to be true in imagination must harden into fact. But only when you cease to interfere. You cannot add effort to faith and call it devotion. Faith, when pure, is rest. To rest is not to abandon, but to abide. It is to live each day as though the end were already established, to speak and act from the place of its fulfillment. You may look upon your life now and say, "But nothing changes." Then I ask you, have you remained faithful to the inner knowing? Have you allowed doubt to dictate your vision? Or have you stood unmoved, anchored in the quiet recognition that your assumption is law? If you have, then rejoice. for the unseen is already moving on your behalf. It is arranging, aligning, preparing the outer reflection of your steadfast heart. So when nothing happens, be glad. You have entered the highest faith, the faith that no longer needs confirmation. You have become the master of appearances, the ruler of silence. You have found the still point where creation bows before you. Peace is not the reward of creation. Peace is the cause. It is the very atmosphere in which all true expression unfolds. When you have truly accepted that your desire is already fulfilled, a holy stillness comes upon you. Not the stillness of resignation, but of dominion. You no longer look for signs. You no longer ask when or how. You simply know. And in that knowing, the work is finished. This is the secret many seek, but few understand. They think creation ends when the thing appears, but creation ends when the mind becomes quiet, when the heart ceases its argument with appearances. The outer expression is only the echo, the shadow cast by that inner silence. Therefore, to live in constant peace is to live in constant creation. For peace is not emptiness. It is fullness at rest. When you enter this state, you feel as though life has shifted its weight. Everything becomes lighter, more fluid, more obedient. People respond differently. Paths open and events arrange themselves with effortless precision. Yet you know that none of these are miracles. They are the natural consequence of remaining unmoved. They are the inevitable reflection of the peace you now carry within. It was written, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." To stay the mind does not mean to strain or to fix attention by force. It means to abide, to rest unwaveringly in the awareness of being. When you hold with that awareness, you discover that peace is not still water. It is living water. It flows, yet it is never disturbed. It creates, yet it is never depleted. Cease your striving. Withdraw attention from the chaos of the outer world. Do not beg, do not plead, do not chase. The law, being impersonal, has already begun to execute your assumption. Let your confidence be so deep that even delay feels like confirmation. Let your composure be your prayer. Let your stillness be your proof. For in that stillness, God moves mightily. In that calm, the invisible is shaping itself into the visible. You need not force the flow of life, for you are its source. You need not demand the sun to rise. You are the light that lighteth every man who cometh into the world. Be content to rest in that realization. Be at peace and watch the peace become your world. And when the manifestation comes, as surely it will, receive it not with astonishment, but with gratitude. For you will know that it was not luck, not effort, not outer action, but the quiet power of faith that accomplished it all. So tonight, as you enter your inner chamber, close your eyes and remember the truth. You are the still point in a moving world. You are the unmoved center from which creation flows. And in that awareness, rest. Now, let us go into the silence.